pages 64 to 68 of The Perfect Hamburger. Do you remember that Joe is talking to the greengrocer who says that he thinks he knows where the spices came from? That they were made by a person called Mrs. Bailey, who was a great cook and a very famous spice maker. At this news, Joe's heart leapt. All that he had to do was find Mrs. Bailey, and then Mr. Borthwick's troubles would surely be over. "Where is she now?" he asked. "Heaven, I expect," the grocer replied. "She died many years ago." That wasn't the news that Joe wanted, was it? Joe felt the disappointment that you feel when you get very close to something you want and then, at the last moment, find it snatched away from you. "But her daughter still comes in here," the grocer added, "every week without fail. She looks just like her mother, but I hear that she can't tell one spice from another." The grocer shook his head in disapproval. To Joe, that didn't matter. He was on the right track at last. Fortunately, the grocer was able to tell Joe where Mrs. Bailey's daughter lived. Joe wrote down the address, thanked the grocer for his help, and set off to tell Mr. Borthwick about the progress he had made. Mr. Borthwick had reconciled himself to the loss of his business. Reconciled means come to terms with. And had already begun to pack away some of his old equipment. Now, as he heard Joe's news, he seemed to get new courage for the fight. "Once we get some more of the spice," Joe explained eagerly, "we can start to make hamburgers that will make Hamburger House's hamburgers taste like wet cardboard. Everyone will come to us. I certainly don't want to eat a burger that tastes like wet cardboard." Mr. Borthwick's eyes gleamed. It would be wonderful to have a thriving business once more. "I'll expand," he cried enthusiastically. "I'll buy new equipment." Joe was thrilled with the change in his friend's mood. No wonder, Mr. Borthwick's usually the one who's all fed up and giving up, isn't he? And he urged Mr. Borthwick to launch an advertising campaign straight away. "We must put advertisements in the newspapers," Joe said. "Coming soon. Borthwick's traditional hamburgers. Hamburgers as they used to taste." Mr. Borthwick nodded approvingly. "You're right, Joe. That's just what we will say. Everybody thinks things used to taste better. We'll show them that they really did." Together, the two of them decided there should be a picture of Mr. Borthwick standing over a hamburger, which would be cooking away on the cooker. Underneath would be written in old-fashioned lettering, "Taste the secret recipe of the world's most famous old-fashioned hamburger. Try a Borthwick's hamburger today." So pleased were they with their plans that Joe and Mr. Borthwick celebrated with an old-fashioned hamburger. Joe mixed the mixture, and as he did so, he used the very last bit of spice that the green tin contained. That's it, the spice is all gone. Wow. What do you think? Will Joe and Mr. Borthwick be able to pull off this reopening? It's nice to hear Mr. Borthwick being excited for a change, isn't it? Okay, that's all for today.